was like the perfect song, and you let us sing along. Now you're gone, but your spirit soars in our hearts forevermore.
Hi, welcome to I Pressed On, a show about depression and changing the word depression into something more positive. I'm your host, Brian Chrysagas, and my co-host is Barbie Segaris. And today's show, I am so thrilled. We have one of my best friends, somebody that has meant the world to me and has become like a brother for 24 years, has it been?
Has it been that long?
Yes, can you believe it?
No.
It's been a long, long time. We've known each other for a long, long time. And we have been bonded. We stayed at your house. You stayed at our house.
Right.
We did, me and my twin were everywhere with
if it
him.
wasn't for this man, I wouldn't be sitting here today. I wouldn't even know you.
That's right.
Because I met him 21 years ago at Disney World at Super Soap Weekend.
That was a little while
and
ago.
after standing in his line for 3 hours, my sister and I, we get up there and he finds out we're Greek, and then he looks at our name and he said, "Well, that looks like
Chrysagas.
Yeah. You got to meet them." And he writes your number down and gets his phone out, and they're telling him to move the line along, and he goes, "Wait a minute."
I don't like being told what to do. Especially if I got people in front of me that have a smile on their face and they're saying, "Hey, we really enjoyed your work." And you can't tell people to move on. You just
I went
can't.
back to the hotel room
They called
and
us right
called
away.
them right away. Because
Yeah.
then you told me they were from Ohio, and I go, "Wait, we're originally from Ohio." So
You're
I
from
had to meet them.
OH?
Yes, OH.
I-O.
That's
That's
right.
it.
That's Ohio, right?
Yes.
Ohio State. You say OH? I-O.
But Jack has been so dear to our entire family. You knew our mom, our grandmother, our dad.
Your aunts, we had spaghetti.
That's right.
Spaghetti pie.
Oh my gosh,
and
yes.
Cherry Valley.
Yeah, and our brother Anthony, you knew, and
Right.
but especially me and Sean, we were like the.
All right, enough about you guys. Talk about me.
But before we get
I'm just
started,
kidding.
but before we get started, I need to tell you, many of you know his face and many of you know his work, but I'm going to just brag a little bit about him. You have done stage, you have done screen, you have done TV, years and years of work. You were on All My Children, Remington, Steele, Dallas. What haven't you done? You did movies with some of the most beautiful women. Farrah Fawcett was my pick.
Farrah, Bo, Raquel,
Yes, some of the
Susan
stunning.
Lucci, Stephanie Kramer,
Linda Gray.
Sue
Stunning,
Ellen.
stunning. Yeah.
Yeah, and I slept with all of them.
Well, at least in the movies.
In the movie, you what a dirty mind.
I know. What's wrong with me? But
Of course, it was all back in the day when you couldn't see anything. You were just
That's
under the
right.
sheets or the covers
That's
or
right.
whatever it was. But it was,
And then the camera faded off.
right,
But you
right.
also worked with some of the legends in Hollywood.
Well,
Rock Hudson.
Rock Hudson is my mentor. That's who I came into the business with in 1981. Did a mini series with he and Suzanne Plachette and
Yes.
Brenda Vaccaro. Then it was Fred Dreyer's first job, who went on to do
Hunter. Yeah.
Hunter. He was, was all pro football player.
Yes.
So, but Rock is my mentor, and I played his son in the TV series we did together,
Yes.
The Devlin Connection. And but we had done a mini series together before that called The Star Maker.
I know everything about you. I could actually name everything he did, even before.
Before I did them.
Yeah, before you did that. No, but before you were a TV or a movie star, you were a
Baseball
pro
player.
athlete, and then
a
you were
model.
a model. You were the Jordache guy
Yes.
and the underwear model. Yeah, so you did so many things.
I've been very blessed. I, in spite of myself, God has continued to bring blessings and keep me. I've managed to keep myself in His grace. Sometimes not.
Yes.
Nobody's perfect, as it says in the Bible.
Absolutely.
We'll always be in conflict with God.
Amen to that.
So, and that's just our sinful nature.
Yes.
Mine. I don't know about you guys, but
believe
me.
No, you know what?
Everybody.
I used to think I was more perfect than I am. I learned out very fast. I'm not that perfect.
Right,
No,
right.
it's just when you get on the high horse and you actually think that you know God or you understand God, things don't go your way.
Yeah, it's about serving two masters and
That's
pride
right.
before the fall and
Yes,
all that
yes.
stuff. All that
we
stuff,
wrestle
yeah.
with God on a regular basis.
on a regular
but-
basis. That He said it would happen.
Yes. Yes.
He knew what he was talking about.
Amen. But you have been blessed. You did so many, and then you did feature films. You were the president in Red Eye not too long ago.
I think I've done 50 films.
That's
I believe.
wonderful. Yes, a
Yeah,
lot
so-
of miniseries. You worked for Jackie Collins over and over and
We
over
did
again.
2 miniseries with Jackie, God rest her soul, one of the most wonderful people in the world. She left too early, just like Farrah
Yes.
and Raquel
Yes.
and Suzanne Plachette. I mean, you know, yeah, these are people that became friends, people I knew,
Yes.
friends. Yes, we worked together, but
Even Rock
we
Hudson.
we stayed friends together, and I was around Rock up until the very end, and he was just an amazing man. You know, he treated me like a son.
That's awesome.
And I remember, and I was staying with my friend Vinny Argiro, who lived in Hollywood, and I had just come out to do the miniseries, and then came back out to do the series with Rock. And so I came back. I ran the Reservoir, Hollywood Reservoir, a couple times, and it was like 7 in the morning. And I get back in, and Vinny, so I bang on the door, and Vinny opens, and he goes, "Jack, hurry, take a shower, get back down here dressed." I go, "What for?" He goes, "Rock Hudson is coming here to take you to the dentist." And I mean, it's like Rock was 6'5",
Wow.
you know?
Was he? Really?
Yeah. But he took me to the same dentist, Dr. Philip J. Tennis, who he went to in 1952. And when he did the evaluation and he told Rock what it was going to cost, and Rock said, I can't afford it. I drive a bread truck. And he said, "I think you're going to do okay in this business. So let's do the work and you'll pay me back later." So 30 years later, Rock took me to the same dentist. And that's how his loyalty. Rock was a very loyal
That's
person.
beautiful. You don't find many of those.
No, I mean, yeah, you don't. And he was just very loyal and just, but he, you know, playing in a football game, you know, two-hand touch, but it gets a little rough, and I got a gash over my eye, and I was actually right down the street from him where he lived off of Cold Canyon in Los Angeles. And so I said, "Hey, Rock," and he goes, "What happened now?" I go, he goes, "All right, I'll be right down." So he came down, picked me up, took me over the Cedars, got me stitched up, and took me back to my car. So,
Wow.
but yeah, just amazing, just a lot of stories
God
with
bless
him.
you. And then you had how many TV series? I think you did more TV series than most people could ever dream of. I mean,
13.
Yeah, that's
13,
amazing.
4, I don't know, 13 or 14.
What was your
Wow.
favorite?
Well, when you're working, they're all your favorite.
Yes.
You know, so I was doing something that I loved and working with very talented and men and very talented and beautiful ladies.
We
And-
loved Point Man and
Yeah,
Wolf. Those were great. Those were where
Thank
you
you.
really start.
Thank you.
I love
And they wanted to
Dallas.
pay me. So I said, yeah, okay. Yeah, I've been.
Remington
yeah,
Steele was another.
that was a lot of
was
fun. Well, I
fabulous.
got to work with Pierce and with Stephanie.
Yes.
And that was another, I believe that was right after I did Dallas. And I just had a great time. Pierce is a wonderful man, and Stephanie, we're friends to this day. And
That's awesome.
I see Stephanie more often than I see Pierce. But so in this business, for me, the amount of time,
Yes.
40 plus years that I've been in it, I would say I probably I'm in contact or talk to people. I'd say 50 to 60% of the people I've worked with. I was
That's
close
awesome.
to Jackie before she passed, and the same with Farrah and Raquel. And with Bo, I haven't seen Bo. I saw her about 3 or 4 years ago. But it's those friendships, it's the relationships that
beautiful.
makes my experience that much richer.
Yes.
Outside of doing what I love and getting paid for it and being creative and doing things together, but to have worked with all of those people, Stephanie Kramer and I from Hunter, we still talked to her about a month ago.
That's awesome.
But lots of people. And then for me,
And you just had a Dallas reunion with all of those
right,
people.
yeah, we were out
That
at
was-
South Fork.
That's awesome.
It was a South Fork soiree barbecue Texas style.
Yes. I didn't know about it. I would have been there. I thought I was the number one Dallas fan.
Yes, and people, we did it at South Fork, which made it that much more
Yes.
special.
Right.
And there probably were about 2,000 people.
Oh my gosh.
And they came from all over the world.
People still love that show.
Oh,
from
yes.
Germany, from
Yes.
France, from Spain, from England, from Canada, from from all over the world. And it was, and I would say about more than half of the cast was there. So it was, it was
That's
Linda
wonderful.
Gray and
Yeah.
Patrick Duffy and
One of the
Sheree
Landers
Wilson.
sisters.
And,
Which
yeah.
one was
Was
it?
Charlene Tilton
Charlene.
there?
Was it Judy Landers or?
Audrey Landers and Judy, she was there. But just like the whole crew, it was just the two Joshes.
Charlene Tilden.
Yeah, and the
How about
kids.
Joan Van Ark? Was she?
Joan was there.
Yeah,
Joan was there, beautiful as ever. So yeah, you know, and that's Linda Gray lives right around the corner from my wife,
That's
Phaedra, and
wonderful.
I. So I'm walking the dog and there's Linda Gray. It's like,
That's
hey,
awesome.
how much better can life get?
We keep talking about your fabulous career, but there's also you were one of the very first male supermodels, because they didn't have male supermodels back then. They were all female.
Females.
They were all the top models were always the females, and then you came along and it changed things. And you became
I was blessed again.
yes.
You know,
But you had the good looks. You had everything that was going for you.
As a god of my parents, all I do is maintenance, you know? So I think that when I've been very blessed, and just timing and God's timing.
It was
not
God's
mine, because
timing.
I was doing a lot of crazy things at those.
Well, he had a
during that
plan and
time.
purpose for your life, like
Yeah.
in Jeremiah. But let's go to during that time, behind all the glitz, behind all the glamour and everything that looked so perfect in your life, there was also a dark part of that fame and success that you were achieving.
Yeah, are you
Could
referring to
share-
my drug and alcohol
Yes,
abuse?
a little bit.
Yeah, it was the mid to late 70s. Studio 54 was in full swing, and it
Yeah.
was crazy and wild and crazy and fun and all of that. And I had, you know, I was at that time, I was still saying I was a very lost soul. You know, everything, it's like an Easter egg. It's beautiful on the outside, it's painted, and not saying
that's
I'm
good.
beautiful, but
But you were.
Right.
just a metaphor. And then,
you
but
still
if you
are.
leave that, if you leave that that egg out in the sun,
Yes.
it's going to rot on the inside. May not affect the shell and all of the beauty that's been painted with it. But I was that. I was rotting on the inside, and it was all due to my self-will run riot, doing what I wanted to do, with no mind of God anywhere in my life, other
Yes.
than I could say I'm Catholic, and I went to church,
Yeah.
and I was an altar boy, and then I was no longer an altar boy because my friend Frankie and I were stealing the poor box, and Father Dominic called, and then caught us.
But I had problems as an ultra boy. You took the cake on that one.
Yeah, when he said, "Oh, what are you stealing the poor box for?" I go, "We're poor."
That's great.
But that was I was really young and dumb then, only about 9, I think, 10, and you know that world at that time, it was a lot of drugs in it, and but the drugs didn't start there for me. That the drugs were also what ruined my baseball career. You know,
Yes.
so out of control then. And after being a #1 draft pick for the Montreal Expos, I was the 3rd pick overall, and
That's amazing.
I was a very kind of out there cat, you know. And my name in the organization with Montreal, my nickname was Loco. And I think I did enough things that they gave me that name. It's not like they just popped into their mind. I was kind of out there. But the drugs and alcohol cost me my baseball career at the end of my 2nd year. And I pitched and I hurt my arm, and that was it. But that was the one part. But so it was following me. The insanity, my
Yes.
self-will run riot, was part of who and what I was at that time. And then
but nobody would ever look at you and
know
think
that.
you were that, because you look like you had it all together.
yeah, but that's part of being that's the facade. That's
The chameleon.
The tears of a clown.
Right, I guess. But the thing is that, you see, I thought that nobody knew or that I was hiding it, but when you get sober, you find out everybody knew. You
True.
know,
Very true.
yeah. So, but like I was doing going to the modeling world real quick. Is that when I was living in Paris, and I went in for this interview, talked just like this, and then I left. And then next day I get a call. They say they're flying you into New York to do this booking with Francesco Scovullo, who shot all the
One of the
Cosmopolitan
best
covers
photographers of all
for
time.
30 years.
Yeah.
And so I'm like blown away, and because they're flying me in for a 4-hour job, and then they're flying me back
Yeah.
And that stuff can go to your head if you're not grounded.
Yeah.
So I thought I was all that in a bag of tea. So I mean, or a cup of tea and bag of donuts, whatever you want to call it. Bag of chips, and
All of
I'll
that.
get there eventually.
All the great junk
Yeah,
food.
and so I go and I do this photo shoot with Scuba Low. 2-3 hours. It was a 4-hour booking. They put me back on a plane. I go back to Paris, and after a couple of months, I come back, and now I'm there. And then someone says, "Look, they've got this you and Eminence underwear, and it's a billboard, and then they've got you on the." And so it was kind of unreal. And then I said, "Well, where's the billboard?" And they said, "It's over there." And then they said, "It's when you're driving across the Queensboro Bridge, you can see it." And so I just kind of went to the East River, and I could see where it's supposed to be. It wasn't there. Then someone said they took it down because it was causing accidents. So I'm like, yeah, get out of here. I guess they didn't pay the bill. That's why they took it down.
It was the #1 accident of that year.
But, so that, and then there was the Jordache jeans, as you brought that up.
Yes.
So I just found. Then I also did Sabra liqueur. Sabra liqueur is an Israeli liquor.
Yeah, that was a great ad.
Yeah, thank you. But then someone Liz Smith, I think, did the article and said, look, they're saying this guy's a Sabra, but he's really Jack Scalia, a Sicilian from Brooklyn. He's not Sabra.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but then the last thing is one of my last jobs that I did with the modeling is when I knew there was a problem with drugs and alcohol, and Joey Hunter, who was the president of Ford Models at the time, and my best friend, then to this day, still the same friendships. And he said, look, Jack, you got this big job in Germany. You're there for 10 days, paying you a lot of money.
Yes.
Don't bring any drugs. Because they won't let you out of there if you get caught. So I said, okay. So I we were shooting in Munich. I got there, it was September 25th. And so I didn't know Oktoberfest started in September. So I was told by him not to drink or anything. Well, when I went to lunch, they brought me a beer.
Yeah.
And a Steiner, their Steiner.
Wow.
I drank one of those, got back to the hotel, called down, said, can you send up 24 bottles of beer? And they said, no, we can't send that many up. I said, how many can you send? They said, 12. I said, good, send 12 up twice.
Wow.
And they
Oh
sent,
my gosh.
and they sent them up, and somewhere late at the night, I don't know how, but I had the phone in my hand. I was talking to Joey Hunter, and I told him what was happening to me, that I was getting ready to
Jump.
go off the ledge. And he said, okay. He said, I'll call you back in 15 minutes. I said, don't call back in 16. He said, why not? I said, I'm not going to be here.
Wow.
The next thing I know, I don't know how, but I'm out on the 12-story window ledge. And I start to lean forward, and I feel something just push me back. And then it said, before you do what you're about to do, I'm going to run your life before you, and then I'm going to give you a choice.
Wow.
My life went before me. It was pain, it was shame, incomprehensible demoralization, anger, hate, just not good.
Yes.
And then the Lord said, if you're going to continue doing with what you've been doing with your life, then just go. But if you want your life to change, step back, reach out, I'll be there for you.
Wow.
And I don't know, but the next second I go, I'm back inside again.
Yes.
Hello? And Joey Hunter said, get on the first plane out in the morning. You're in the rehab day after tomorrow.
God really saved your
and
life.
that's what I did. And then Joey, we went to, it was a JFK, and this is back when people could walk right to almost the door with you. And I turned around and I said to him, you'll never see me drink again for the rest of my life.
Praise the Lord.
And that was
Yes.
45 years ago.
40,
Oh
wow.
my gosh,
Congratulations.
congratulations.
There-
That's
there is,
wonderful.
I was looking up statistics on suicide, and it's 49,000 in 2022 adults committed suicide a year in that year. And that's not even counting the youth. But during that time when you were about to kill yourself, our mother was praying for you. And she was such a prayer warrior for Jack. She just loved him. And she prayed and prayed, and she had us praying for you. So the power of prayer says the prayers of the righteous mother or prayers of the righteous person availeth much. And our mother was.
She was righteous.
Oh, she really was.
Yeah, and a tough cookie too.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, I remember that when we met, and you said your mother had said we should pray for you.
Yes.
And I go, I don't even know your mother,
No.
and your mother doesn't know me.
We even did a website to find you because, and you said, "Who gave you permission to put up this website?" We said, "God."
Okay, got me there.
We did.
But yes, and then of course I got to know your mom and your dad and your grandmother and your cousins and your brothers and your aunts.
And that's the Bobbsey twins.
Right. You two, yeah. I miss him very much, your brother.
He was
I did
wonderful.
too.
Yeah, Sean was a terrific man. Very much like you.
Yeah,
As a matter of
well,
fact, you look like him.
I called him Sean yesterday.
Yeah, I've done it quite often. So it's but getting and then you had that website. I go, who the heck told you could do that?
Well, we loved you very much, and we still do. And I want to thank you. We're almost out of time, and we have to have you back because we have like 5 minutes.
I wanted to ask him though, do you believe in AA? Or do you
I'm in a 12-step program.
Wow.
Can't say AA. I always say I'm in a 12. I can, but I'm in a 12-step program. I
Okay.
probably go to 4 or 5 meetings a week.
Wow.
I still do because that's my grounding. And so for me, there's God. There's my program.
Right.
And then I get to enjoy my beautiful wife, Idra,
That's
and my
beautiful.
family and my grandchildren.
Wonderful.
And so, you have, sometimes I've had to learn the lessons over many times.
So what would you tell our audience about AA if they're struggling
About
right
a 12-step program?
Yes.
If you think, people who aren't alcoholics don't think, am I an alcoholic? They don't think that way. If you think that way, then there's a good chance you have possibly a problem with alcohol or drugs or other sundry products that they're inventing every day. I would say you can look it up. You can look in pick up your iPhone or whatever you have, your computer, go look for a AA meeting near me, and or you can call the AA Central Office, have a talk with someone there, and then you can look up the AA question, the 12th, the program, 12-step program. There's a questionnaire, and I think it's like 24 questions, and I got an A+. So I would suggest that if you think you have a problem, then I would probably look into it a little bit more. I would find a program that maybe it could be another 12-step program that can help you. But if you think you have a problem, then like in all things, with all the work I've done with the veterans who have returned from war, I spent a lot of time with them, and they have a very difficult time sharing and talking. But if you put them in a group of their peers, there's always that high percentage, the percentage has gone up for them to start to talk and open up. So if there is a problem with someone, they believe they have a problem with alcohol or drugs, when you get around peers, that's why I go into one of my meetings, I am surrounded by people who, if I say I'm just having the most miserable day of my life, I don't have to explain it. They know it because our stories are, the names and the faces and the things like that change, but the story's pretty much the same.
Absolutely.
Powerless over alcohol in our lives become unmanageable. And you go through that's the first step, and then, the second step and the third step, and you can move on, go to your meetings, get a sponsor, get a big book, AA Big Book. There is hope, and there is a solution. That's chapter 3 in the big book. There is a solution. And I find for me going to my meetings that I'm not alone. I have people who know exactly what I'm going through.
Plus, you give it to a higher power, which you do.
Well, that's one of the things that they do, is definitely give it to a higher power, a creator.
Absolutely.
And the higher power isn't a doorknob like some people go, no, it's not a higher power, it's a doorknob.
Jesus.
But if that helps you, let it be your higher power.
Yeah.
But
you can't do it by yourself, and that's a wonderful. I want to get you back. We got to bring you back
Here's
on
my
for
back.
another.
Thank you so much
honestly,
for being here today.
You have been a blessing, and I want to thank you for even while Sean's passed, that you have been on the phone with me, you've been praying with me, and Idra has been the same. Both of you have been such blessings. And my adopted brother for years and years, it said 24 years. I can't believe it.
It's longer than that, I
25
think.
years. It's been a long time.
But we're still young.
Yes, absolutely. And God's still got more for you.
And you.
Thank you.
And you.
And before we go, because we always end with something positive, but this
Why, was I negative?
No.
Was I depression?
You were not at all.
No, not at
but
all.
for everybody to hear this, tears are prayers that travel to God when we can't speak. Well, would you agree with that?
Yes.
Because I know that my tears, I know he puts them, the Bible says he puts them in a low jar. And he keeps them. I don't know what he's doing with them. Mine now isn't even a little jar. Mine
It's a
are
gallon.
like,
It's a swimming pool.
It's a swimming pool.
God knows everything.
Amen.
He hears, he sees, and he knows everything.
Absolutely. Well, I love you,
And he's
Jack.
love you too, Bri.
Thank you.
Thank you. Love you.
My pleasure.
Until next time, please keep on pressing on. God bless you all. When I'm in your presence, kneeling at your feet, I hear you speaking to my heart about all your plans for me. Jesus, you're the master. Oh, I'm at your beck and call. There's so much I could do in life, Lord, but Jesus most of all. Oh, I wanna be used by you more than anything else I do. Oh, I wanna be used by you. Rain, let it rain, let it rain, let it rain, let it pour. Let your power come down, let your glory abound like before. We are thirsty and dry, so please don't pass us by, precious Lord. Let it rain, let it rain, let it rain, let it rain, let it pour. Ooh, now back in the days of old, my brother Joel, the prophet, he foretold. He said there'd come a time when God's miracle power would be known. Oh, and now like a heavenly rain, God's Spirit is falling again. God's manifest presence is here for the world to behold.
To get your Fearless to Follow CD, visit chrisaugustministries.com and click on Shop. For more information about I Pressed on podcast, visit chrisaugustministries.com. Find out who our next guests will be, as well as airtimes and dates. Please consider making a donation. Your donation helps fund all of the ways we spread God's word and testimony.
Your life was like the perfect song, and you let us sing along. Now you're gone, but your spirit soars.